Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. I have Corinne. I got it, Corinne, right? I got it
Yeah,
right.
you got it right, Corinne Smith.
I went to say I went to say what I wasn't meant to say. Corinne
Oh, good.
Smith, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's always a way you get told. I always check pronunciations of names, etc. Then you just have a blank moment, and I had one of
It's
those.
Corinne.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
Monday, so if you can't have a little blank moment on a Monday, when
Friday's the other day.
yeah, exactly. But Corinne's based out in New Zealand, so not far away from me here in Australia. And you've obviously you said your questions. Obviously, you've just been in Melbourne just recently. What an interesting woman you are. You
Oh,
sound like the seasoned and serial entrepreneur. Just giving me a bit of a backstory. Then I was like, whoa, okay, I'll do a slight introduction about you, but then I'm just going to hand it over to you to explain it because I will not do it justice in
oh,
terms of
you're
what you
too kind.
so you're the CEO and co-founder of Abby. I'm going to
Mhm.
ask you about this name, Abby, by the way, because it's intrigued me since connecting with you.
Please
We
do.
started it back in 2023, so it's literally 2 years young. In its most simplistic form, it is an accounting automation platform business and currently integrates with Xero, but you are looking to integrate it to other accounting
Accounting
software,
providers.
yeah, accounting
Mhm.
providers next year.
Mhm.
You have a fast growing it's a fast growing New Zealand SaaS with an AU rollout, and it's focused on lifting capacity and reducing compliance hours through automation and AI. You also have a chartered accountant company, and I can't remember what the name of it, but it's Australia and New Zealand. You've got a few other different companies on the go as well.
Mhm.
Corinne, I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us about your journey. I want to know how first got into being an entrepreneur. Have you always been an entrepreneur? Tell us it all.
Yeah, that's a cool question to start with. So thank you for the intro. And look, I'm not a big one for CVs, but we can talk about all those things later. But I think what the story was with me is I've probably always been wired to have ideas and be quite entrepreneurial. But I suddenly found myself in life a single mum with four young children. So when you're in survival mode and trying to do your thing, a lot of that has to go by the wayside to survive. So it probably took me a few years once I'd had my family to really realize actually the way my mind worked and the ideas that were coming. With being an entrepreneur, you see opportunity and ideas in just about everything every day. Well, I do. But the
I do
secret is
too.
harnessing the good ones and just getting rid of the ones that are just thoughts. But I think one of the big things with my background being a chartered accountant and always being in business, that's probably another strength as a lot of entrepreneurs don't perhaps have that business experience. And that's where it can go a bit wrong, especially doing a startup. So I think with the Abbey idea and doing what we're doing right now, the timing is perfect. One, my children have grown up now and left home. And and I have two accounting practices in New Zealand, but I have the time and energy and kind of headspace to do something like this. Um, I decided I wanted to automate a lot of the compliance work and work papers that us accountants do. But I kind of went, Corinne, don't be silly. You've got to help the whole industry here, not just yourself and not just your businesses. So I'm on a mission. My vision is very simple to make accountants' lives better. And every decision we make with our software and every business decision, I always go back to that saying to my team, does it make the accountants' lives better?
I love
Because
it.
ultimately, that is what we're doing. It's as simple as that, really. When I say simple, if this was easy, everybody would be doing it because you do need to have clearly a very strong accounting knowledge.
Mm,
And of course, I've been living in New Zealand, but also we've upskilled ourselves very quickly as to Australian tax knowledge. So
mm,
it's been
mm.
good. See some similarities and then other things that are a bit different. So really, it's just having ideas. Are you able to execute? Will it make a difference to the audience that you're trying to make a difference to? and just seeing if you have the skills to execute. And then there's a lot of the jigsaw puzzle to go to fit together around how to make that business work, really. An idea is one thing, but creating a business around an idea is certainly another thing.
I could not
Yeah.
agree more. I could not agree more. And I liked that what you called out at the very start of the conversation in terms of you can have all the ideas in the world day in, day out, and as a visionary, as an entrepreneur, but it's what's actually going to shift the dial, what's going to move you forward. Because,
Mhm,
quite often we can get into that kind of, oh, I want to do this, and there's all these different things. And I think quite often that's also when the business strategy is so important and that
mhm,
vision or the North Star to keep you on track. Do you
mhm.
know what I mean? Like, I think otherwise your business may not necessarily get off the ground, right?
So what we're doing with Abby is we're sticking to the core compliance work papers. We've got 35 and you can create others for yourself. There's lots of things that we're doing around the end piece and the beginning piece of Abby. But until we get the main structure right and everything working correctly, we can then add on and create a bigger Abby product that's certainly going to make accountants' lives better with other things in there too. So we've got roadmaps for those, but I think, like you say, we are laser focused on getting all these work papers working really well, which they are now. We've got accountants that are going to do beta testing with us until January. So we've got, some of those people that are like really interested going, oh, I want to give this a go. And then we've got those actually some lined up who would like to be early adopters after the testing is finished into next year. So we're kind of at that stage at the moment because I thought that question might be coming soon, but there you go.
No,
I've
that's
answered
good.
that
Thank
one
you.
as well.
How did you come up with the name? Like, where did Abby come from?
Oh, yeah.
Abby accounting. I'm kind of like,
No. So, Abby is a bit of an acronym of the company that we've created. And it was a couple of summers ago, and this is a really nice story. We were with our developers at the beginning, and we decided to have a session on a January summer's day in one of the guys' houses, and he had a pool table and this whole kind of games room going on. And we were working with them to create the work papers as we know today. So we had lots of space. We had paper, big pieces of paper everywhere, creating all of this. And one of them said, oh, it would be good if Abby did something or other and something or other. And I went, oh God, what did you say? And they're saying, oh, we're just shortening your company name because we're just, talking fast and want to get on with it. But the acronym's actually ABI. And I went, oh my gosh, I think we should give Abby a bit of a personality here.
yeah, that's what I
Mm.
mean.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, we've named Abby now, ABBY, Abby. And it's a she. All my team are males at the moment, not my accountants, just my developers. It just felt the right thing to do because we know in accounting practices, most of the work gets done by the women, a lot of that compliance work. We have been using Abby in my practices for a year now, and I hear my ladies, and I've got a couple of guys as well who are accountants, but all day I hear them, oh, let Abby do that job. I'll put that job into Abby. And so that's exactly what should be happening because Abby is now a team member in your accounting practice.
I love it.
And it's like she's a female. She'll just take care of all that heavy lifting for you. Yeah. So I just felt it felt like the right name and the right persona for our product. And I can hear it around my accounting practices. They will, oh, Abby did this right. Oh, yep, she's done that. And it's like she's a team member in your accounting practice.
Yeah, I love it. It's very cool because like when I saw it, I was like, Abby, how does, and I wasn't going Abby equals accounting, but I was kind of trying to understand because you think about accounting and it's such a dry word, like, and you kind of like accountants get pigeonholed into like, but I love accounting. It's creative accounting. It's like, I'll come to the question around how you responded to it around innovation. There's so much you can do, but just listening to you talk about it and bringing that persona to life. It feels very fluid. It feels very much just like you say, it's part of the team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating and I absolutely love it. And it's such a recognizable, it's repeatable.
Yeah.
You never it's distinctive. You're never gonna forget the brand name, right?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope that you're right. I just feel like it's a good fit, and it feels nice, and it feels right. And Abby is a team member, so she's like a wee person in there helping you. Yeah,
Yeah,
get
so
these
you're
jobs out really quickly.
amazing. So you're 2 years in, you were just talking about beta testing and things like that. So have you been in almost like research development mode for the last 2 years and it's almost like you're about to go to market now, or is this just is this like can you yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, timeline is 2 years of development and creating,
Yeah.
and taking on team members who had the right expertise. But along that journey, we're now in a place where New Zealand is actually live, their software. So we're using it in our accounting practices, and we've been testing for a good 6 months now. So that's looking really good. And while that's been happening, we've been creating the Australian software too, like I say, doing the research with
Yeah.
regards to the tax legislation and things like that. So we have 35 work papers for Australians as well. You know, some of them are GST and tax and BAS and wages and all those kind of things. Um, yeah, so beta testing will start in a couple of weeks. So we have people who are jumping on doing that with us. And then we should be going live February, March for the Australian market for those early adopters that want to give it a go. They will get 1 month's free trial to test out Abby. And if they're happy and want to go along the journey with us, yeah, we're up and away. We do make sure we set the expectation that this product will be, there will always be ongoing development with Abby. So what they get at the beginning is the base product for Abby. And as time goes on, I've got lots of ideas. I try and switch them off. But anyway, of things that we will take seriously to develop. This little napkin that I'm holding up now is one of my ideas. And I've kept it in a safe place because I'm going to make that one happen in a few months' time too. So, because I think it will be very, very valuable for accountants.
It's really funny you're showing me that because on the weekend I was like playing around with my own ecosystem and I just put it all into Figma. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Figma.
yeah, very much so.
And
Yeah,
I just drew it all in there because I was just like, I need to get it out of like, I had it on
yeah.
all different bits of paper. And I was like, if I have it somewhere that's safe, I won't lose that piece of paper. But you can start to see the totality of the business where it's shaping, reshaping, because that's what it's all about, right? We're constantly iterating, we're constantly going from one form to the next form. That's the formless in me, but as well, but in terms of that nothing's static any longer. It can't be static, which takes me to my question around, from an AI and automation perspective.
Mhm.
With regards to that,
Mhm.
AI, it's obviously very, very new. Well, it's been around since the 50s, 60s, excuse me, but it's like a revolution at the moment where everyone's like, I've got to be using not just generative AI, but it's like
Yeah.
the next thing is agentic AI, like yeah, you've obviously.
I've got a big take on the whole AI thing. One thing just to start with is that before this whole AI thing went crazy out in the media and all that kind of stuff, we'd actually already started. And when this whole media thing erupted, I was like, oh my goodness, crikey, that's good timing, isn't it? But there's a few things to be wary of, or maybe aware of. And that is, first thing is Abby is 90% automation at this point in time and 10% AI. Okay. So you have to understand, well, I had to understand, and let's say everybody needs to understand that you need to start, the starting point is automating what you can. That's quite different to using AI tools and
Mm.
chatties and chat, all of that kind of thing. So we've automated all that we can, and then the AI is coming in as we go. So AI is at the very beginning of what the potential is. Those we've got people that, I can see products out there going, we're AI. They're so far from AI on what compared to what we're doing. They're not even doing automation, let alone AI. It's kind of like this buzzword. And as someone out in the market, you just need to be aware and ask lots of questions. So you say this is an AI product, but what AI does it actually do? Because quite often it's just a marketing thing.
Yeah.
So one of the things with Abby that is our massive point of difference at the moment is Abby does all this work for you within 30 seconds. Usually it would take an accountant 6 to 8 hours to key in all these work papers and do all these numbers. Um, Abby doesn't solve all the problems where the reconciliations in our world where the numbers don't match up. The humans still have to go and investigate those variances. But Abby will give a whole bunch of suggestions of where those variances will be. So make no mistake, a product like Abby, you have to have the humans in there as well for it to work. You also have to have the humans in there to actually sign the work off or the client job off at the end of it. So that relates back to, say, I'm a chartered accountant and I belong to the professional body of Australia and New Zealand. It's one professional body.
Yeah.
So I have a practicing certificate. So I have to actually sign those jobs off that I've reviewed them as a human. So there will always be software like ours, but there has to be the human in there going through checking things are correct and also signing things off. So Abby will always have to work in tandem with the humans. That gives me great satisfaction, but also like I'm like, oh gosh, thank goodness for that,
Comfort.
because you don't want stuff going out that hasn't been checked by the human.
No, I agree, and
Yeah.
I think this is the thing, right? And again, you've raised a good point because I've been speaking to a lot of, AI founders, from even from the VC space, investors, etc. And, we're in the early stages of AI. It's not going to kind of streamline out for, quite some time. And the question I've been asking is all these businesses that are jumping on this AI, it's an AI business. They're like, and the interesting conversations have been majority will fail because we're at such an infancy when it comes to AI.
Mm.
And like you say, it's that ability to understand and exactly what is it that is being provided by the company or the business. And for me, humans more than ever, the critical thinking, the creativity, the innovation, the engagement, connection, the face to face, the need for obviously since COVID, like
Mm.
you want a human facing person when it comes to your business. I want to still connect with humans. I want to connect with humans more than ever. And I think this is the really interesting bit to it all, right? Like it's, all these roles are disappearing, but all
Mm.
these new roles are being opened up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's that bit's exciting for me in terms of the ability to how do you stitch the two together and do it in a way that's iterative.
Yeah. So just yeah, a bit on that. It's funny because so my belief is Abby is streamlining the way accountants can work.
Yeah.
And you might get a job that takes we call it the old way here now. So 10 hours. So what accountants are currently doing. So 6 to 8 to 10 hours, depending on the size. We're getting our work out in like about an hour or so
Which
with regards
incredible.
to Abby jobs. Um, but my belief is, yes, we're getting Abby to do that heavy lifting, but the what will actually happen is it will bring the humans closer together, and
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing right now in our practices, in that it's actually bringing our staff closer together. They have more time, they seem so much more relaxed and less stressed, honestly. It's
which is
so good. And
awesome.
yeah, yeah. And it's just these subtleties you can see start to happen. My staff are spending more time with clients either on the phone or in person when they come in for meetings. They're not on this time clock thing. Oh, I can only speak for a minute. They're spending time with people, which is our clients. And that's what our business is. We are a service. So, my other thing is that I believe accountants hold a huge amount of business and financial knowledge, and we have never got away from our laptops and computers because of the compliance work to actually go out into the business world and our business communities and work with business owners. We don't do that, and we should be. We should be actually going out to their factory or their site or their whatever it is and helping these guys with, it doesn't have to be complicated numbers and projections and all those things. It can just be working as alongside a business owner, and you kind of pick up on something. Oh, I wish we had an extra machine because that means we double our turnover, or things like that. And then you could possibly say, well, if you want to make that happen, I can help you with perhaps an application to the bank, to get some money, and then we can show them how much more you'd earn, and just, but it's getting your hands dirty and getting involved. And I actually think a product like Abby, which is automation and a bit of AI sitting in there, will actually bring us humans closer together because we will have more time for our clients, and we certainly will be spending much nicer time with our staff members.
I love it. But you're also solving more problems, right? You're having that ability to solve. The brief is never the brief. The problem is never the problem. There's always like, when I call it walking the corridors, or when you're, with your client and you're having more conversations. That's when the juicy stuff comes up.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And the fact that accountants have always, they've been seen as the number crunchers behind their desks on the spreadsheets when actually they have a way bigger role. I love the way you're reshaping what is possible and what it can look like. When you booked in for the podcast, Corinne, I said to you what was one unique insight or lived experience in life, leadership, and or business, and it was very, shouldn't say cute, but it was kind of cute. It was because
Well, what did I say?
you said innovation is super cool, exclamation mark, and why with this like little smiley emoji.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, okay, let's talk about that. So can you I mean you've been talking about it a lot, but yeah, why was that your response?
Um, Look, I think because of the way my mind is, I just think innovation is amazing in that it helps enriches our lives because you can just change something so subtly in such a small way and it has such a big impact and result. And the thing is with innovation, the other thing you need is confidence. Yeah. So, I'm probably, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but I actually think people may look at me and go, oh my goodness, she's a middle-aged woman and she thinks she's doing something really cool and innovating. Well, actually, I am. And I can sing from the rooftops. And I'm really happy to say that, oh my God, look at us go, me and my team, because it doesn't matter who you are. You need the confidence. You certainly need a bit of experience. The other thing I would say with innovation and entrepreneurs and stuff is either have a lot of business skills yourself or have someone around you, a team around you that can give you that. You don't want to go off on a tangent and it's completely the wrong direction to go in. So that's an important piece of innovation. But I love it. My business partner, my husband, he is the conservative one. And I might say, oh, come on, let's go and do the thing. And he's like, right, I'm just going to do some numbers on that. Like he's a really good accountant, or these are the possibilities about that idea, and that's what every innovator and entrepreneur needs. Just that leveler to go, okay, let's talk this through. Let's get serious about this and put it into context what you're doing
No,
here.
I could not agree more. And funnily enough, my finance partner in my previous world, he was exactly that. I'd be like, we're going to do this and this and this, and like, I'm very good at being a visionary and seeing it through, and be like, whoa, hang on, B, let's just kind of work through this. And I'd be like, because I was always jumping to the next thing in such a hurry,
Mm,
I'd be like, slow down. I'd be like, oh. And I'd get frustrated, but then I was like, no, no, actually, a good idea. So I think you
yeah,
need that yin and yang, exactly that. So
yeah.
I think it's super important. What would you say is the biggest, what are you seeing as the biggest, I guess, we're obviously in this crazy world. 2025 is
Yeah.
certainly been one wild ride, that's for sure. Like just everything that's going on right now. We don't even have to
Yeah.
go into, everything that's, happening in the news and everything else. But like, what are you seeing as probably the top three challenges or opportunities, if you like, that you're seeing from some of the companies that or businesses that you're working with?
So we are working with directly with accountants.
Yeah,
So not so much the business world outside that, except for my accounting
yeah,
practices and my clients.
yeah,
So, but just sort of like a lens in there. One of the things is definitely in New Zealand, and it can be happening in Australia too, is business isn't as buoyant as it was. And there's not as much money sloshing around in the economy for businesses to, do really well. But that's actually a good thing because it will make you stop and think and go, okay, I need to come back to my roots, my core. What am I doing here? And like you say, instead of darting off onto all these other things, let's get back to basics here and do this really well. Um, so sometimes leaner, tighter times make you really look closely at what you're doing and do a lot more planning around what you're doing, what is possible. So you might have had even, 3 years ago after COVID, a good business, but things have changed. So it's about really understanding your numbers, really understanding your markets, because sometimes those markets have disappeared potentially. It's like you kind of need to start again in a way and just look at your numbers and your markets and the products that you're offering and services and going, okay, is this still what we're doing
Yeah.
really well or is it not? And if it's not, you need to pivot and change.
Yeah, that's
And
my whole, yeah, it comes back to being formless, right? Like it is, it's a constant. We're living in such an uncertain world. You can't remain rigid. You can't remain linear. It's like how are you continuously shaping, reshaping, but doing it in a way that's strategic and ensuring that it's still building back into or laddering into that vision you've got and sense checking that vision, sense checking that mission
yeah,
and coming back to a clear,
yeah.
plan.
And it could be that sometimes you need to diversify as well. So if
Yeah.
something's not working over here, you may need to go, right, I need to start another revenue stream or whatever and start that process again. So it's like a mini project within the business at times.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to think about. And the other thing to recognize is I think business owners and therefore probably the families are under quite a lot of stress because of that. So you know, it's hard. I've seen businesses fall over this year, quite a few businesses fall over, and it's heartbreaking because they're just hanging on, and hoping the thing will get better, but it in some cases it doesn't. So actually, sometimes to be a good accountant, you may want to have that heart-to-heart discussion with them and go, well, if things keep going the way they are and you're already at rock bottom, you might want to close the doors.
Mm,
But that could be really good advice if it's done in the right way. And when the time is right, they can do something else or start again.
mm.
Yeah.
Do you have hope that it's going to pick up financially? Like, do you think we're in for a bit of a long road for now, or like, what's your?
Yeah, I think we're in for a long road, all of us globally. The world is getting wobblier instead of better. There's too many global things happening that are influencing the way we live in particular.
Mm,
So, and then that trickles down to the financial side as well. But I don't think, COVID hit and everything was on a high just before COVID, whether it was property,
yeah,
money
100%.
going around and all that kind of thing. And COVID's wobbly. And then there's obviously quite a few wars around the world. And, our dear friend, Mr. Donald Trump, as well, is causing havoc with everything. So really, I think we're on for a long ride. I actually believe in simplifying life as much as possible to cope with that. So reducing debt is the biggest one, not taking on more debt if you don't have to or you don't
Yeah,
need to, because that's something that can escalate if you can't service that debt because of all the changing landscapes around you.
yeah,
So simplifying is probably something, but I think they say, oh, 2026 is, bang back into it. I don't think so myself. I think it's going to be a 5 to 10 year, unfortunately, climb out. And it's a gradual uphill, So it's
yeah.
just making good decisions, but also going back to stress, life's not worth it. You need to have a good life and just do something well, do it simply, and make sure that, we all look after each other and our communities and our families and you know, at least have a good life.
I agree, and I think that your point around climbing, it's going to be a slow climb, but I think this is it's the revolution of the world we're in, right? Like in terms of, change is upon us. It's not going anywhere, but it's now how do we redefine what success looks like? How do we redefine what businesses look like? We're in a new world order. And so
Yeah.
you can't just jump from an old world into a new world and go, ta-da, like everything's
Yeah,
amazing.
totally. Mm.
This is a step-by-step process. And I think the more we can be present, the more we can be
Mm.
purposeful, have that purpose. I just said that, but also that ability to have your people, your team around you, your community, your family, etc.
Mm.
I think that things can. I mean, I'm forever an optimist, but I'm also a realist.
Yeah,
So,
same.
you
So
know,
one of the it's not a problem, but it could be a problem. That is one of my passion projects is that I can clearly see that when we started with Abby, that's great. We're solving a problem or a pain point or several pain points for this accounting industry. But make no mistake, I'm actually creating another problem. And I knew that from the outset. So we have put steps in place to try and help solve that problem. And that problem is I'm passionate about bringing the younger generations through our industry. Absolutely passionate. I don't have, unfortunately, any of my kids doing accounting or finance. So I'm like, oh my gosh,
They
maybe one
could they
day.
could have come into the business. What's going on here?
Exactly. So what we're doing with Abby is with regards to the whole software, everything, everywhere in Abby, there's like checklists and information and guidance sheets for younger graduates, junior accountants, and intermediate accountants to read wherever they are in the software to upskill themselves and get themselves up to speed and knowledgeable on tax, FBT, wages recs, GST, you name it. It's everywhere through Abby because Abby is doing all that work for you. So therefore, how can these younger people coming through learn how to do that? So all the calculations are on all the sheets as well. So they can try and upskill themselves and test themselves
Oh,
perhaps
I
at
love
tax if
it.
they want to. The other thing we will be creating in the future is an Abby Education Centre. So people can go, I'm not sure exactly where yet in Australia, but there will be a centre, and I'm hoping it's a big glass house. I just have this vision of this beautiful
I
big
love
glass
it.
house
You have to check that
with
with your
glass
husband.
tables and chairs, and we have consultants that can sit with people to train them on Abby, but also basic accounting skills. So that goes hand in hand with the product. So like I say, we're sort of creating another problem, but I'm front footing it because I don't want that. I don't want to create that problem. I want to make sure I bring through all those younger, less experienced accountants through and train them as we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very cool. Two final questions for you, and I'll let you get back to the rest of, well, your
that's
afternoon.
okay. Yeah.
What's left of it. What are my questions? What's next for Abby? Like in terms of obviously like, yeah, what does Abby look like in 12 months, 2 years time?
Oh, I love that question. So talking as an entrepreneur, no, I'm just going to talk as a realist, I think. There'll be a lot more development with regards to the product. I want to be able to provide a workflow from end to end with the Abby product instead of accountants using three or four or five or six pieces of apps to do an accounting workflow. That's my ultimate goal by 12 months' time. Um, so I'm pretty sure we can make that happen because we're already, looking into all those things and more functionality with Abby. Also looking at other countries that may need some help.
Very cool. Very
Yeah, so we've scoped out another two countries for the following year. So hopefully we can create the software like we have for Australia and New Zealand to help other accountants and just really from a very humble, from the bottom of my heart, I just go back to I just want to help make accountants' lives better. So there's thousands and millions of accountants around the world, and why not? We might as well just try and help them.
I love it. I love it. You called yourself a middle-aged woman. I'm a middle-aged woman as well, but I hate the term middle-aged because
Yeah.
if you read, and I get inspired by this, like I'm 48 and, like it's my first company, 2 years ago, previously was in another business, had equity in it. But, they say the older you get, the more wiser you become. And so you said, you had your children, they were growing up, and then you've come into, you've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. What would be a piece of advice you would give anyone, let's just call it, who's middle age and
Yeah.
wants to start their own business,
Yeah.
but is doubting themselves because they're middle aged?
Okay, two things. First of all, here's a little story. I'll keep it short and then I'll address your question. This is what gave me the most confidence this year in March. So I was invited by CANS, which is our Chartered Accountants Body of Australia and New Zealand, to come and do a pitch in Sydney at Fishburners on the Abby product. I was like quite blown away. They found me on LinkedIn and I was invited to go over there and pitch with along with there's seven of us pitching with their tech products. There was a judging panel. One was the CEO or president of CANS, Ainsley Van Olsen, and there was Shay and Ken, two other entrepreneurs who have got their other businesses. So what you do, it's not
It's
really
like
like
Shark Tank.
A little bit, but it didn't feel like that. They're very kind and nice people. The other thing is, people are invited to the event. So there's about 500 accountants and other people at the event, and a couple of thousand people streamed in. So it was a big audience watching us pitch. So I'm sitting in the front row with all these lovely other entrepreneurs with their products as well. And I think I was number 3 or 4 to get up there and whatnot. And then what happens is the judges go away and they choose the one, the person that they like the most or has the most, whatever. Um, so I felt really like, oh my gosh, there's these 20 and 30-year-olds sitting next to me, and I was the middle-aged lady in the middle. But turns out Abby won judge's vote that day. And from then, I knew I was even more intense about making a difference and that I knew I was on the right track. If the CEO of Cairns says, yep, no, you need to go and do this, and people, like the whole vision, people could see what I was doing, could easily take flight. I was like, I need to work harder and faster because I want to get this thing done. So
But your
that,
passion comes through. You're so passionate about your business, your brand, right? Like it's obvious. Like, and I think that when you're telling a story or you're pitching, it's about the story you're telling
mm,
and
mm.
how you bring it to life. And it's obvious how passionate you are. So yeah, sorry, I interrupted you, but
No,
I think
really
it's
good.
important.
But to answer your question, the reason I bring that up is I think with people that want to go on this journey, it doesn't matter how old you are and where you're at with anything. The biggest thing is I would wrap yourself, experts around you to say, okay, I want to do this, and then get some experts to go, rightio, let's package that up and do a business plan and do a whole bunch of numbers around it. And what do you need? And all that whole journey of a normal startup business, that's what you need to do. Um, so yeah, find those trusted advisors that you can wrap your arms around and vice versa and start that journey. Also, the other biggest tip would be to join groups,
Yep,
entrepreneurial groups and all that kind of thing, and surround yourself with like-minded people and learn off them as well. So there's lots of things you can do. But yeah, business experience is probably, if you're younger, is the biggest thing you'll be lacking.
I agree. How do we find out more about Abby? How do we find out more about you, Corinne?
Oh, on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. Our website is www.cheersabby.com, as in cheers with 2 glasses. We like to think that Abby does your work quickly, and you'd like to go, cheers, Abby, thank you.
I love it.
You can book a live demo on the website, and we will be touring around Australia a lot more next year and doing breakfasts and events. So just reach out to me
Let's come
though.
along.
Yeah, we'd love to have anybody and partner up with anyone and yeah, make accountants' lives better.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Corinne. It's been a
you're
real
welcome.
joy talking to you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having me.
and have a
Yeah.
wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, B. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.